Hey there, Brett Farrell here, founder of the Farrell Group, your favorite lead gen agency, and home of the Million Person List. In this video, I want to talk to you specifically about how to use podcasts for lead gen, or even if podcasts are even good for lead gen. Now, podcasts are phenomenal, in my opinion, for generating a community, all right? So visualize this. With a list, you are building a group of targeted people. Yes, when we say list, we're devaluing it in a very, it's kind of a terrible way of like devaluing it, but it's like, it's putting just a number to a person. It's like a barcode, and I don't like that. I like more calling it a community, or calling it a group, or just calling it a family more than anything. But the one thing you have to think about is it's a targeting mechanism, right? And so podcasts are phenomenal for targeting, whether you're doing a murder podcast or you're doing something like Jonathan Fields with Good Life Project, right? Where all they're trying to do is provide great value and help you, live a whole better life. But understand, the people who want to actually listen to that podcast is just a targeting mechanism. Right? It's a targeting mechanism to try to find the right person. You look at Tim Ferriss, it's mostly going to be entrepreneurs that listen to his podcast. You look at Joe Rogan, it's mostly going to be people who are enthusiasts for maybe UFC, mixed martial arts, but also he's got some crude background to him, so it might be a younger audience, right? That actually he is targeting, or that he's naturally attracting. Now you're probably thinking well, Brett, how does that build a list? Well, it's how you use the podcast that actually change the dynamic of the list building strategies. And so in this case, what you're going to end up doing is you're going to use a podcast and the call to actions in the podcast to generate that list. Very simply, you just announce, just like I'm here on YouTube or any other place where you see this video, making an announcement for a giveaway. So in their case, what they're going to do is they're going to talk about, in this podcast, our theme. Say you have a guest on, and they're going to talk specifically about paleo. Well, you're going to let that podcast guest talk for a half an hour, however long your podcast is, educate, train, give great information, give great value. And then from there, they say, well, yeah, you can get more information by getting my free giveaway here. Link. But you have to be very specific about that link, because most of the time people are going to be either in the car, they're going to be running, they're going to be in places where they're not going to be stationary, unless you're targeting specific to people who are on Wi-Fi. But in most cases, you're not, okay? So the thing you have to understand is that podcasts for lead gen are fantastic when you do a proper call to action. So in this case, you need a vanity URL. And a vanity URL is just very simply a masked URL that is easy to remember. Most people are, one of our events that we have is called a high ticket lunch. Now, high ticket lunch is like a very relatable, and it's very clear to picture. It also is, it's just easy to remember. If you have to require them to go and say, in cases of like Jonathan Fields, well, if you want to make sure, if he's saying, okay, go to Jonathan Fields /giveaway /awesome blueprints, and it's very unlikely that anybody in that case would actually remember that. But if you then change the game, go buy a URL on, say, GoDaddy, and just say jonathangiveaway.com. Always be aware of spelling. If it's easy to misspell what you're doing, keep in mind auditory and actually writing it down are two completely different things. So if it's very difficult, say you have a name. Say your name, say my name is Brett Farrell. My last name could be Will Farrell, could be Colin Farrell, could be all the different Farrells, but I got a randomly spelled Farrell name. Thanks, Mom. And so from there, you got to look at it as Brett Farrell. Also, you can misspell Brett. So it could be one T, could be Brent, could be, all the different spellings. So if you are going to do a giveaway, be aware that anything you say, you're going to probably want to spell it. And you're also probably going to want to make it as clear and as easy to share as possible. Some of the best ways you can perceive marketing is, how easy is it to share with other people? How easy is it if I actually show something off to you, a family member, whoever, how easy for them to actually tell their spouse about what they just learned. The easier it is, the more effective you'll be. So if you want to build a list, build your lead tool, build your page that's going to sell it, and then make sure that that link, whatever that link is, make sure it's easy to remember. And if you do buy a link on GoDaddy that redirects over, just go ahead and put a forwarding address in. Super easy, and you could even Google your way through that. How to buy a URL in GoDaddy, then forward to another link. There are so many tutorials about that, but just bear in mind that when you are building that list, that your podcast is congruent with whatever you're giving away. Otherwise, nobody's going to care about it. Nobody's ever going to go there. And also be consistent with your call to actions. Don't do it all the time. Don't do it every time you have a show. Say that your show is once a week. Throw something else in there. Do giveaways from other people. Kind of throw in commercials, and then throw in that giveaway 1 in 3, just so it doesn't get monotonous, doesn't get like burnt out. But you have to have consistency over multiple so people remember it. Most of the time, people won't remember it. So you might not get much traction starting out, but as you kind of continue to do all of your shows, and your podcasts run wild and more people, download it and it grows fast, then you'll have more people coming in, because it's an evergreen, it's essentially a legacy approach. Just like YouTube, the podcast won't stop, the videos won't stop, and then those call to actions will always be there. So just on that same note, make sure your pages are always live. So that way, if somebody goes to episode 6 and now you're at 600 and they try to go to that lead page and it's not there, at least redirect to something else and make sure that you re-up on that vanity URL if that's something that you did. So anyway, that's my summation of, here's my summation of the podcast. Make sure you have a clear call to action. Make sure it's linear. Make sure it's something people want. And do it consistently across multiple episodes, but don't make it too obvious every single time. So yes, the answer to the question, yes, podcasts are great for lead gen. Now, if you want to build a list and you want to do it effectively and you want to know exactly what we do to build all of our lead tools for not just our list building techniques, but also for our clients' list building techniques, go ahead and head on down just below this video. I've got a link to a checklist. This is our 1,000,000 list building checklist that is basically a full blueprint on what we use in order to basically check off, yes, this lead tool is ready and it's ready for publishing. This includes headlines, this includes branding, this includes the clear call to action, all the supporting evidence, all the look, all the feel, everything. All you need to do is just head on down and go and get it. It's all free for you. That's my gift to you for tuning in and listening to me ramble throughout this entire video. Thank you so much. Can you please, would really appreciate it if you subscribed, love if you liked, maybe even disliked this video if you didn't like it, that's okay too. But leave a comment. I respond to them all personally, and I just thank you. My name is Brett Farrell. I'm the founder of the Farrell Group, and I'd love it if you actually take a look at some of our other videos as well. They're hovering around here just below and just to the right. Thank you again. Take care. Bye.